Oh man, what's up? What's going on? What's good? Yeah, we are back in our regularly scheduled time of Sundays live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a live version of the Boxing Source Radio Show. Yo, and of course, we got a lot to talk about here in this little bit of episode, man. So, you know what's going on, you know what's going down, and you know what's happening, all right? We got still people, talking about what was happening last night, man. Shout out to folks that are joining in live right now, in this little podcast thing. Of course, you can follow the Boxing Source through Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and all of that. And with this live discussion, you got people getting called out already. We waiting for one of our key contributors to join in on the conversation here, because of course we had a lot that went down yesterday. A lot of boxing action that went down yesterday. There was like about four boxing cards that happened yesterday. You had the last part of that Fight Club done by Matchroom Boxing. You had cards from Golden Boy. You had a card for Top Rank. You had a card from PBC or Tom Brown Promotions. And we're gonna see if we could touch on every single one of them. Probably one will be left out. Some may guess which one that is, but wanted to, of course, get into the talk of the weekend, and that was the main event that happened over at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. The WBO bantamweight titles on the line. You had the WBO champion John Rigo-Casimero. You had Guillermo Rigondeaux, the two-division world champion, and at the time the WBA regular champion, going up against John Rigo-Casimero. And it was, about that, some people were looking, forward to see what would happen. It was a lot of talk going back and forth between John Rigo-Casimero and Guillermo Rigondeaux. Casimero was talking a whole lot of trash, talking about, hey man, I'm gonna take this guy out in 3 rounds. I'm gonna go ahead and retire Guillermo Rigondeaux. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna knock him out and all that. Shout out to those in the live discussion right now. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you had Casimero. He was coming off the momentum of his win that was on pay-per-view in his last fight against Juke Micah. And he had a string of knockout victories that he was going on ever since his last loss in 2017 against Jonas Sultan. But we had that knockout streak, including getting that interim bantamweight title, and then going up against Alani Tete in 2019 to win the WBO title. You know what I'm saying? All right, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good there, Intangible. If you could join in here on this live discussion here. You know what I'm saying? But this bout right here, I was, kind of looking forward to it to see what would happen. Of course, I said what I said in reference to John Rigo-Casimero. You had the whole thing with Guillermo Rigondeaux. He hadn't had a fight in a long time, since February of 2020, over in Pennsylvania. That was part of that Gary Russell card back then. And he hadn't fought since. They originally, scheduled this fight, and we know about the story about what was going to happen or what could have happened with John Rigo-Casimero. It could have been a potential unification fight against Nonito Donaire. So we could have had Casimero and Donaire for WBC and WBO bantamweight titles. But we know about what happened with that. And we'll eventually talk about that in a little bit. So Donaire was out, Rigondeaux was back in, and you had Casimero versus Rigondeaux here in the main event. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it was something where I kind of like felt like Guillermo Rigondeaux was going to be the favorite in this particular bout. Casimero, like to me, really didn't have that many fights where he was going up against a guy with the overall skill level of Guillermo Rigondeaux. You know, and that I just highly favor Rigondeaux coming into this particular fight. I didn't think that Casimero was quite ready for a fighter of his caliber. Even though his manager was talking about, Casimero has fought, a lot of guys that, had a lot of boxing skill and he was able to stop them late. So I don't know why, people are saying that Casimero has, a lot of issues with, guys that can box. Well, this particular fight, man, we saw like after this first round, man, like Casimiro tried to blitz Guillermo Rigondeaux, and he ended up getting tagged in the second round. Then he tried to see if he could cut off the ring against Guillermo Rigondeaux. Couldn't really do that. Got hit with multiple lead left hands, and then after about a few rounds, he just got absolutely flustered and got frustrated and started to stand in the middle of the ring and be like, "Come on, come on." And Rigo was like, "Yeah, okay, come on, come on." And then when Casimero tried to hit him or tried to, land with a power shot, he completely missed. So you had Guillermo Rigondeaux pretty much controlling the pace of the fight. It was ineffective aggression as far as like what I felt from Casimero. And it went through those 12 rounds, and being at the venue that it is that has the nickname of the Punch Bowl, yeah, there weren't that many punches going on. So that's why the crowd was like, boo, boo, boo. But hey, that's how Guillermo Rigondeaux does his thing. And you went to the scorecards, and you had one scorecard of 115, 113 for Guillermo Rigondeaux. Then you had Daniel Sandoval with a score of 116 to 112 for Casimero. And then Robert Hoyle had the score of 117, 111 for the winner and still champ John Rigo-Casimero. Let me add in a guest here that's joining in the conversation. Shout out to Intangible for joining us here on the Boxing Source. What's good?
Hello. Quite an eventful weekend of boxing, and got capped off by a pretty dull fight out there in Showtime. But yeah,
well, yeah, you could kind of like say it was capped off by that dull fight. There was, one fight that still lingered on after that, which we may talk about there with that Joshua Franco there against Maloney.
mm-hmm.
Um, that was, I thought it was pretty good in a sense. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about this particular fight between, Guillermo Rigondeaux and John Rigo-Casimero. And I think it's kind of, that entire card was kind of weird in itself, given the undercard fights that were televised there. But back to this thing with Rigondeaux and Casimero, what were your thoughts about it? Because I just thought that Casimero just looked like he was almost like a deer in headlights.
Yeah. Wow. Where do I start? The card was, I guess, rather disappointing. I guess for expectation, but I mean, obviously, I thought the matchmaking was pretty decent, nevertheless. But the main event between John Rigo-Casimero and Guillermo Rigondeaux was the fight that I originally went into expecting Casimero to clip Rigondeaux in the middle rounds, Rigo to try to fight back, but then get stopped. I thought he'd get clipped similarly to how he got clipped against Liborio Solis, but he wouldn't be able to recover considering Casimero's, just being able to bulldoze him, I think, eventually. considering I think Rigondeaux was a bit past his best. But the fight in and of itself surprised me a bit. Where I'll give Rigondeaux credit is the legs he has, the conditioning he has for a 41-year-old guy is crazy. However, from what I assessed in the fight, it was a little bit different from yours. In terms of ring generalship, right, so ring generalship, if Rigondeaux ideally was more of a ring general, if this was prime Rigondeaux and what we saw, say, against Donaire and against Igbeko, he would have been able to keep John Rigo-Casimero near the center of the ring. He would have been able to keep him near the center of the ring. He would have been able to hurt him more times. And he would have been able to get himself into his own construct more frequently, meaning he's going to be able to set his feet, time him with the left hand frequently, and be able to catch him with shots that he's routinely been able to catch guys in the past with. But actually, in my opinion, I felt that the fight was being controlled largely by Casimero. Because even though Rigondeaux was catching him with some good left hands and making him miss, he was largely fighting negatively. Okay? And he was drawing Casimero. Well, Casimero, should I say, was keeping the fight, stalking him. Even though he was not effectively cutting off the ring, he was following him in straight lines, but he was keeping the fight at mid-range, keeping Rigondeaux moving. And when Rigondeaux is on his toes, his offense becomes ineffective, because he needs to set his feet in order to get off his effective power shots. And he was unable to do that, hence why his volume was so, even for him, uncharacteristically low. Casimero, oftentimes, was able to outland him in rounds. I thought his body work was able to get him rounds, win him rounds, when the punch outs were like 5-3 in his favor, maybe 4-2. Rigondeaux just was not doing enough. He didn't make any adjustments. Now, I'm not one to criticize him for running, usually, because, listen, if he's able to win rounds consistently by just outlanding a guy by about 2 punches, but he's still able to reel off these rounds, he's still able to spoil and win rounds clearly and take control of a fight, I'd be fine with how he fought. But when those rounds are so close, when rounds are that close, when you're fighting a champion, and the rounds are coming down to just 2 punches, and Casimero is the aggressor, and he's landing more punches, or even if he's not landing more punches, his shots are still coming by and grazing you, and they're still making contact with you, and the acoustics are still, you can still hear the acoustics of the shots. There has to be some type of adjustment you can make to make your offense conducive to that type of fight, and he didn't make any adjustments. He was not throwing his double jab. He wasn't actually trying to score with the shot. He was just looking for left hands. Sometimes he'd find success digging them with uppercuts to the body, but was not able to get off his straight left hand and didn't have anything else in his arsenal to stop Casimero. He'd make him miss, but he wouldn't make him pay. And ultimately, I had Casimero winning. And this is a fight that I think exemplifies the main criticism I have of Rigondeaux. He is a tremendously talented fighter and a very good pro, but at heart, he's still an amateur. When he's forced out of his construct, he struggles to make adjustments. And that's what happened in this fight.
Well, I've been, looking for the CompuBox punch stats for like round by round. Haven't been able to quite find it yet, but the overall numbers was 47 punches landed for Casimero, and Rigondeaux's was 44. So yeah, like total punches, there was only like 3 total punches landed more from Casimero. My thing was that I felt like Casimero was trying to go after Guillermo Rigondeaux, like you said, but once he got to Rigondeaux, his offense was not effective enough for me to be convinced in that particular sense. So there was like times where he did pursue Guillermo Rigondeaux and of course got him to the ropes, but when he got him to the ropes, he didn't necessarily be as effective as he could have been when he tried to cut off the ring against Rigondeaux. And with Rigondeaux, his punches were like more effective when it came to landing, and it just seemed like he definitely stopped Casimero in his momentum when he was throwing those punches. Now, the thing about his like overall offensive output, yeah, that may be a case for Casimero that Rigondeaux didn't necessarily have a high enough offensive output. But my thing was it was like effective punching, controlling the pace of the fight, and being able to effectively defend against Casimero because a multitude of Casimero's power shots were missed and they were missed wide. Now I want to get in one person that I haven't heard from in a good little while. A very, very, very good guy when it comes to analyzing fights in the history of the sport of boxing here. Bringing in Unrivaled to join us here live, man. What's going on, man?
I'm doing great, JR. How are you, man? How's
Man,
things?
man, I've been good, man. I've been good, busy but good, man. Good to hear from you, man. So, just in this opening topic here with Rigondeaux and Casimero, um, it was like an overall lack of action. I think
Hmm.
that people kind of like expected Casimero to try to get to Rigondeaux and blitz him, but Rigondeaux just used his feet from round 1 to round 12, and like Intangible was saying here earlier, it's amazing that someone over 40 years old is able to keep that type of pace for 36 minutes. But in his sense, he just feels that Rigondeaux wasn't offensively, active enough in order to, get the win here in this particular fight. What were your thoughts about what happened with Rigondeaux and Casimero?
Well, to me, if I'm being very, very honest and blunt, if either guy was given the decision, I wasn't going to complain about it. Um, I had too much to complain about the fight itself. I think a lot of people keep bringing up different terms. I think the most important term to bring up in this fight is the word engagement. There was no engaging. There's so when you use scoring criteria, people bring up I mentioned Rigo won an effective aggression. How can it be effective aggression if there's no aggression? You know, singular punches. The way I look at it is there was such a lack of punches, a lack of engagement. There was more lack of fighting than fighting in the ring. Um, that ring generalship just flew out the window. Nobody was in control of what was going on in the ring, but rather they were making sure that nothing could happen in the ring at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
at all. So I think that's something I look at. I really will just go to the punch count and just say and look at it like this. Let's just use the punch count, whether it's correct or wrong. There's your result, 6-6 a draw. Either guy could have won. It's not really much to me. Like the fight was so innate that it shouldn't be this much of a talking point from my point of view. That's just from my point of view. Like so many people saying Rigo got robbed, other people saying Rigo's the worst fighter ever. He didn't deserve to win. Nobody deserved anything in that fight, and especially us. We didn't deserve to have to watch that.
I mean, if it could have ended up as a draw, then that would have been, I wouldn't have, been, had issues with that. Um, but it was just that there were just so many rounds scored in one side that that just kind of like had me bothered a little bit. But before I had in another guest on to the show, I want to get a quote here from Guillermo Rigondeaux that was after the fight, and he says, no one wants to fight with me because that's my game plan. I'm frustrating the boxers. That's the necessary amount of punches that I needed to win this fight. That's why I win. God gave me those skills, and that's how I display them. It's why I'm unique. It's my style, and it's the only one that I know. Now, let me bring in a guy that has been going off ever since the decision has been made. This guy looked at this fight and pretty much said that it was a defensive masterclass. But we'll just hear from him himself, and that is the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. Matthew Brown, also part of the Rigolution. Let's go.
First of all, I don't know who the hell these guys are that you got on this show today, okay? Because first, these guys are haters. Rigo got robbed, okay? There are four elements to score on the round, right? They say clean, effective punching, effective aggression, ring generalship, and defense. When you have a round where there is no clean, effective punching, you have to go to the other elements. And nobody controlled the other elements like Rigo, okay? Not only that, for the fans who claim that the fight was boring, what the hell were you watching? Did you not see a defensive masterclass that would have made Pernell Whitaker proud? I mean, this guy had John Rigo-Casimero getting ready to fly out the ring. He was missing punches so widely, you know? A lot of people look at Billy Joe Saunders' best performance against David Lemieux. And what's the highlight they always show? They always show Lemieux missing a punch and Billy Joe Saunders looking through the crowd like, oh, where'd that punch go? Whenever they show Floyd versus Canelo, they show Canelo missing a punch and hitting the rope, and then Floyd looking back like, where'd that punch go? But of course, when it comes to Rigo, oh, it's boring. Who wants to see this? Oh, but boxing historians will tell you, well, Willie Pep won a round without throwing a punch. So it's good for Willie Pep. It's good for Nicolino Lochte, but it's not good for the great El Chacal Guillermo Rigondeaux. We got to stop it, man. We need to figure out what it is we like in boxing, okay? And those CompuBox stats were wrong in the first place because Rigo landed more than they said that he landed, okay? And they also counted some punches from Casimero that was illegal punches. They weren't even scoring shots. They claimed that Casimero landed 6 punches in the first round. 5 of those punches was when Rigo was on the canvas after he slipped. So how the fuck are you counting that in your CompuBox statistics? That don't make no sense. And then you have a guy come on the show and say, oh, well, let's look at the stats, whether or not they're right or wrong, and score from there. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. Because there's only a right or wrong. There's no whether it's right or wrong. I'm telling you, man.
What does boxing tell us about ducking below the belt?
What do you say?
What does boxing tell us about ducking below the belt line?
Who cares?
Wait, no, we don't do that. We don't bring up all of the rules and then say this doesn't count, right?
Bro, let me tell you something about the rules of boxing, okay? Yeah. If the ref don't call it, it didn't happen.
There you go.
Because clenching in boxing is technically illegal, isn't it?
Yes, technically. At discretion, of course. At discretion.
No, the rule don't say at discretion.
Yes, it does.
Does not say at discretion.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It depends on which state athletic commission you're in, and in California State Athletic Commission, it actually does. Go look it up right now.
That is not what the unified rules of boxing state.
The unified rules? What are the unified rules?
Please go on the ABC website.
The ABC?
Yes, the Association of Boxing Commissions. What? Come on, what are we talking about here?
I'm clueless. Like, I know what the ABC is, right? So I'm obviously clueless. I also know that like you say, if the referee don't call it, then it didn't happen. So when you were bringing up some of these punches that the referee didn't call,
he did call. He
called all of them. He called every one of these shots that landed, every single one. That referee was busier than the fighters.
He admonished John Rigo-Casimero. So why are those punches counting? What are you talking about? The referee admonished him after that display. So how can you say that the referee allowed it so it should count? That don't make no sense.
Oh, so the referee literally called the punches. What he admonished was what he admonished was the punches. No. He admonished. I'm gonna be very clean with you. Very clean, right? I'm not one for abrasion. I think you are. I've heard you enough. I know that you're quite an abrasive person. You like abrasion and coming in and trying to dominate conversations with things that don't exist. So I'll kind of break it down for you since are you a judge? I'll ask you this first and foremost. Are you a judge?
All right. That. Now we're getting into
that's a yes or no question.
Stupid portion of the conversation.
It's a yes or no question.
I'm not a goddamn judge. Why are you asking me am I a judge? Just make your point.
I don't
that
know.
Don't make no sense.
I don't know if you're a judge.
I'm
asking, are you?
Why do you want to come in and play stupid?
Did you? I'm not playing stupid. I'm asking a question.
No, are you a judge? Are you a judge? What kind of dumbass question is that?
It's just an honest question.
Sitting here talking to you, trying to explain to you the unified rules of boxing. No, okay. I would be off somewhere else chilling, maybe taking a bribe somewhere. I wouldn't be here on the boxing source talking to you.
So you could be an amateur judge, right? In your local vicinity. You could be.
Make your point. Make your point, please.
Well, specifically, judges are told that it's at their discretion quite a lot of the time. Unified rules kind of go out the window a lot of the time, and I think that's something a lot of boxing fans kind of leave out. Judges have a right to look and score the blows, whether they see the referee admonish it or not. If the referee calls it, and he calls it and verbals to the judge specifically, then he has reconciled the situation with the judges. If he hasn't, it's at their discretion. You do know this, correct?
No, you're talking about no. You're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. You're not going to redefine what I'm talking about.
You're talking about warnings. You're talking about warnings.
Yes, I am talking about warnings. And warnings specifically are the things that get deducted from the judge's scorebook, speaking as one.
So you think that if a judge rules a punch illegal, that if he doesn't, hey, judge, this punch is illegal, you think the judge counts it still? You think the judge is supposed to count it?
Literally, hold on. The way you worded that is incorrect to the way we're
No.
You can say that your opinion's more valid than anybody else's. It's really not. Let's get into something very, very specific here and get into something very honest. When you make a warning, that means that you have cleared situations up. Admonishing a situation doesn't. Everything's at discretion. Now, the situation with Casimero and Rigo, did the referee call to Casimero, right? Did he tap on the back of his head? Did he signal that he was tapping on the back of his head?
Yes, he did.
Now, when he signaled to Rigo, what did he signal to Rigo?
No, he signaled to Casimero.
So, but you said he admonished them both.
Did you watch the fight?
Of course I did. I'm asking you a question. You said he admonished them both. Now you're saying that he admonished only Casimero, which brings me back to my...
First of all, where did you hear me say that he admonished them both?
About 4 minutes ago.
No, you didn't hear me say that, actually.
You said he admonished both of them.
You didn't hear me say that, actually.
You said they both got
to the archives of this particular episode of the Boxing Source radio show that will be posted on iTunes to see what was actually stated. All right, so I want to add in a couple other guests in here. Of course, World Rank, Mr. Give Me My Credit is going on. And I got another person that's joining the conversation too, and that is J-Ro. So first, World Rank, check it in. What's going on? What's good?
What's good, man? Mr. Give Me My Credit. Mr. Who Did You Pick is World Rank. What's up, fellas? I just heard about 10 minutes of utter bollocks. But other than that, everything's good. Just checking in, seeing what y'all talking about, seeing what y'all debating about, because I know it's a lot to debate about, so I'm on here just to check y'all out.
I mean, I was gonna bring up my point of this thing about the fight between Rigo and Casimero, and I was gonna bring in my closing statement that I always say on this show. But I'll leave that for a little bit later. J Rose checking in because J Rose actually did call out Mr. Matt to step on the live. So J Rose, what's happening?
Yeah, not much, man. How you guys doing?
Hey, what's going on, J-Ro? Listen, before J-Ro starts, I just want to point out, okay, that J-Ro is one of the biggest Rigo haters I've ever met in my life.
Come on.
I just want to point that out.
That's not true. That's not true at all. I predicted Rigo to win last night. But that fight sucked. I don't care who won. I really don't care. You guys can argue about who won. I stopped scoring after round 5. I didn't care. That was one of the worst fights I have ever seen in my life. That's all.
Oh man, I mean,
wow. You don't appreciate the sweet science, J-Ro?
No, I must say I don't. I would rather watch Shakur Stevenson fight.
Oh
fight
no!
Come on.
Oh.
I would rather watch Shakur Stevenson fight 15 times a day than watch Rigo-Casimero ever again.
Y'all next WBO 130 champ, just so y'all know, I'm putting it out there. Y'all already know what it is.
That's not happening, but okay.
If you want to put money on it, we can put money on it. You know how I go, and you know that I'm down for whatever when it comes to this shit. Because when I say it's going down, it's normally going down, bro.
We'll talk on Twitter.
Mr. Who you pick? Coming through with that one.
Oh yeah, so since I said that, are y'all saying y'all picking Hearn? Because I'm gonna get it clear out the water if y'all picking Hearn, so I can come back on here and give y'all all the smoke.
This is on wax. Yes, I am picking Jamel Ellaby Herring to win.
As am I.
Okay.
Not only am I picking him to win, I'm picking him to stop Shakur.
Wow.
Man, you capping hard right now.
Woo! I'm picking Shakur to get the win on points, whether by hook or by crook.
J-Ro know what's up. You know what's up.
Yeah, I think Shakur wins. I think he edges it out. I don't think it's gonna be clear though. I think it's gonna be very competitive.
Oh man. Yeah, man. That's gonna be a firefight. They say it's gonna be in Atlanta. I'm gonna see how that's gonna go, and let's see if I'm gonna go. But back to this whole thing with Rigo with Casimero, man. So who is it?
All I know is that Inoue knocks out both of them. Knocks them both out. Same night. He will knock both of them out.
Ooh.
J-Ro.
Yes, sir.
Does Inoue have the footwork to keep up with Rigo?
Come on. He will cut off that ring. He will cut off that ring quickly. Though just because Casimero is chasing him around doesn't mean Inoue is going to chase him around. Inoue's going to cut it off, go to the body, kill him, destroy him. Inside 5 rounds. Inside 5 rounds.
Casimero was supposed to do?
Exactly.
Throw to the body.
Casimero's not good enough.
Slow it down.
Who told you guys that Casimero was good? This is what I want to know.
I wasn't saying that Casimero was good. I was just saying that he is coming off this whole KO streak and had a good win there over Duke Micah in that pay-per-view, and he beat Solani Tete for the belt and all types
with
of
a borderline illegal shot. The shot that he hurt Tete in was borderline illegal. Yeah. He was like behind. If you see the shot, he was like behind Tete.
Yeah, but it's okay if you hit him with an illegal shot, because according to somebody on the panel, if the referee don't admonish him officially, then it still counts.
I mean, if one guy is allowed to foul, the other one can, right? Dip below the belt line.
Yep. Yes, so. Why does it sound like Matt is ordering the whole selection of the ice cream truck?
Yeah, this ice cream truck won't leave, man. I don't know what's going on out here.
Yo, But yeah, man. I mean,
About to go
what was it?
downstairs.
Sean Gibbons was out there on ringside after the fight. Oh no. No, we are not quite done. I guess Mark, my guy, Mark from Rival Boxing Talk had to check out. No, we aren't quite done with the Rigo talk because I was going to talk about Sean Gibbons stepping on ringside immediately after the fight. Talk about that was bullshit. And
he was angry.
Oh yeah, he was angry. All right, he was definitely angry. But I mean, he should have known what the deal was gonna be, man. He should have known that it was on the table that Guillermo Ringana was gonna be like, "Catch me if you can" in this mofo. Like if they had any real idea about that, then what they could have done was they could have said, you know what, let's see if we can shorten the ring size for a bit. Let's see how much Rico can move, because like for bantamweights, that's a fairly large ring there for bantamweights. So you giving Ringing all this real estate to move. You know what I'm saying? You say something, World Rank?
Now I was just saying, like, you can. I don't think anybody was prepared or ready for Rigo doing what he did. Like, we know that he's not like that. Not that. That was a different level of Rigo. That was the Rigo Invitational. Like that was on some other shit. That was on some other shit, bro. He kind of fooled me in the Seahawk fight. I thought in his recent fight, his most recent fight too. He kind of fooled me. Like, damn, he getting older.
Police.
Yeah, he getting older, so he about to, he can't move like he used to. But yesterday, man, I don't know, nigga had on skates or something. He got out of there.
Yeah, but look what Rigo said on Twitter before the fight. Oh, you expect me to fight like that, huh? Well, you got a big surprise coming for you. He was saying how he was going to fight the fight, but nobody believed him.
I do respect the fact that he stood on that. Like, he fought on that, and then I don't know if y'all saw. Obviously, it's not him posting on Twitter. It's not his post, but I guess it's under him. So,
sure,
like,
about that?
Man, I don't know. Nah, he don't think he's.
He don't speak English.
Yeah, he don't speak no English. But the fact I do, but even in the interview, like, he stood on that. That's his style. And most people, when they fight that shit style, they won't stand on it. But I respect that he's standing on it and said, "Hey, this is the style I fought, and it is what it is."
I did like that the tweet said, the Philippines, you have a great champion in Manny Pacquiao. Like,
yeah, that was
dope. That was dope.
Rolling.
Now you guys
retweeted that. I retweeted that one. That one was just too funny. I was like, yo.
Completely honest. When you heard 117, 111, did you think there was any way that Casimero won that fight?
Yeah. I thought I ain't scored a fight because it was such a shit fight that I was like, man, I can't score this shit. But somebody posted on Twitter, I can see pretty much any score imaginable from a 12-0 on one side to a 12-0 on the other side because it was just such a terrible style fight. Like, I don't know how people could actually sit there and score it.
And then argue about it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, what was this? Congratulations to the Filipino fans. You have a great champion. His name is Pacquiao.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a great tweet.
Oh, that was classic, man. That's classic, Joe. That was
man.
Classic.
Shout out to Rigo. They just don't understand them.
Yeah,
so I want Eno and Rigo now. I already told you, Matt. Eno and Rigo now. On the spring of 2022. That's what I want.
All I know is Loma stopped him from running. That's all I know.
Well, I mean,
Loma had help with the referee, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, I mean, he saw Rigondeaux doing some things like Orlando Salido, and he was like, "Yo, what's up?"
Loma did the same thing NBA coaches do to get the referees to call a fight their way.
Oh man, so the thing with Casimero, man, he's still the WBO champ. He has that, availability where he could, potentially fight Nonito Donaire. But I don't know if that's going to happen yet. I think you're going to have, Inoue face either Donaire or Rigondeaux, depending on how this thing works or his situation is with Top Rank. Because I don't think the thing with Rigondeaux will still work if he's still with Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that's going to work next for him. But I'm going to see if another person could join in here on the talk before I close this topic. One person that is another dude that was a big boxing guy here in this area, in the DC area. Brother Troy Graham checking in. What's going on, Troy?
All right, respect everybody. Just to be straightforward, he didn't win the fight. He moved more than he punched. He did not win that fight. I mean, I'm a big fan of the brother, but he did not win that fight. If he would have done the Sugar Ray Hagler thing where he's had those moments where he would stop and throw flurries, move, stop and throw flurries and move, he would have won the fight. But he didn't do any of that. He moved more than he fought. I mean, he didn't punch enough. He just flat out didn't throw enough punches.
So if he was able to throw the lead left hand a little bit more, you would have given him more rounds.
Body shots, lead left hands, fire out that jab more effectively. Yeah, he looked good moving, but moving doesn't win you fights.
So even if he was, doing the things like Billy Joe Saunders did to David Lemieux, or Floyd did to Canelo, that wasn't enough. Or maybe this was like the equivalent of, in a basketball court, somebody like a hot sauce, crossing somebody's ankle so bad that they fall to the court. Maybe that's what Rigo was doing the whole fight.
He was doing that, but he was missing a shot. Like
no.
That's the equivalent of it. He crossed him up, but he missed the shot. Or he didn't take the shot.
As you know, brother, if and maybe doesn't win you anything. So to me, he didn't win the fight. I mean, like I said, I'm a big fan of this guy, and I'm surprised his trainer, because I know his trainer is an ex-fighter, ex-champion, didn't tell him you have to punch more. Because honestly, this guy couldn't cut off the ring on him, so it's not like he could land meaningful punches on him. If he would have paused and just threw some punches body, head, and slid over to the right or left, he would have won the fight easy. He didn't even have to hurt the man. All he had to do was flurry. This dude could not cut off the ring. So all Riggs had to do was use that jab, blind him, throw some flurries, slide, or even work him to the body. He could have caught him with a couple of uppercuts too. I didn't see any of that in that fight. None of it.
And the live convo here, shout out to Boxing Logics United, Peace and Pugilism. He says, explain the difference between a fighter running and from a fighter setting traps. And, someone intangible saying Rigo was setting traps, but Casimero wasn't falling for him. Hence why Casimero was only firing when Rigondeaux was on his toes running. I guess that's, the point where, Rigondeaux was right in front of Casimero, but Casimero wasn't necessarily throwing.
Casimero was only throwing punches when he had no chance of landing them, because every time he ate that straight left, you could see that he ain't like it. So I don't even understand why we are making it seem like Casimero was fighting some smart fight and playing chess with Rigo, when all it really was every time he got hit with that straight left hand, he looked like he didn't want to be in the damn ring no more.
That's true.
All right, bringing in somebody that I'm sure watched this fight. Shout out to our guy, Brother Mike, checking in from Atlanta. What's good?
What's going on, fellas? I see we talking about the fight. I'll throw my opinion in the hat. I was disappointed in the fight. I was disappointed in Rigo's performance in the fight. I hadn't bet on boxing in a long time, but I bet on this fight. I ain't bet much, but it's the principle. It's the principle that this dude made me lose money, and so that's how much I had faith in him. But I see we're talking about, did he win? And we talking about like it being synonymous to crossover dribbling and making the dude look real bad. Rigo moves. He looked very fluid, and it looked very much like he was dancing. You know how when Lomachenko move at times where people don't pressure him, and you can see his like Russian dance style. You can tell that um, Rigo doing, his bachata or whatever he does. You can tell that he can dance, and so it looked very fluid in that he was dancing, but if you have one fellow who all they're doing is moving, and then another fellow who's throwing punches and missing, and every blue moon he'll hit him in the hip, every second, and then the other guy literally throws 2, 3 punches around and misses maybe all three of them. Maybe one round he lands one, but a guy throwing punches versus a guy not throwing punches. There was a round, maybe round 2, whatever round that. Oh, when he hit him and he was down, I don't know what round that was. Maybe it was
That
the
was
first
the
round.
first.
Okay. But after that round, Rigo stopped throwing that punch. It was a round that I know he got hit with a shot, and then you saw him sort of shell up. And so that's when he started moving a lot more, because at first he was a bit more into, I'm not gonna call it exchanging, but like a smart exchange, like walking him to a shot and throwing the left hand. But after he got hit with whatever round he got hit with a big shot, he just was content with moving and not getting hit with anything big. One thing that I see tactically with Rigo that I see about him that makes him not be able to sort of, like, Floyd Mayweather moves, and he sort of baiting you to get into a spot, and so he moves, plants, and you in that spot, pow, he hits you with the lead right hand. Rigo can't do that because most of the time when Rigo is moving or attacking, he's on his front foot. So he does not have the leverage to where he can spring and then counter a person. And so if you see him, most of the time he lets his offense go. He on his front foot, so he doesn't have the ability to like react, because if you got your weight all on your front foot, you gotta plant it to the back foot, and then that's when you can do all these other movements. And so that's why Rigo is not able to, like we see other counter punchers who have good foot movement and stuff, who counter stuff. So combined with his not throwing punches, with his fighting on the front foot and not really being able to be elusive and do the maneuvering and posturing and stuff, yeah, he lost the fight. And I'm disappointed.
Well, I mean, I thought the thing with Rigondeaux is that he utilized the ring and moved around the ring a lot. But I guess his amount of offense wasn't enough over the course of the fight to kind of like convince the judges or something like that. When they did show like the stats of the CompuBox stats, unofficial or whatever it is, immediately after the fight, there was neither fighter landed more than, I don't think it was more than 8 punches in any round. I think, I saw a couple 7s here and there or whatever, but there were like a few 2s, good number of 2s, but nobody landed more than 10 punches in one round in the entire fight, And that was the thing about it. And going off of what's on the live chat, he said, that he made Casimero miss, but didn't make him pay. So I guess that goes into what World Rank was saying when I brought up the whole thing about the basketball reference about crossing somebody and breaking somebody's ankles, but not making a shot.
He definitely missed the shot. He didn't take the shot, as somebody said. He did not take the shot. And at first, round 6 to 7, I'm like, okay, he about to crank it up toward the end. He still got pretty good movement. He seems to be, stamina wise in the fight still. But then he was just content to just moving. Like, he looked good. He looked very, like I said, like he was dancing, but he didn't throw shots. If you have a man, so let's say they both landed 3 shots or 4 shots, less than 10 shots, and then you have somebody at least throwing 20 shots versus the other person throwing 3 for 3 and landing 3 for 3 or 5 or 3 for 5, you're going to give it to the guy who throw more shots if they land around the same amount of shots. And it wasn't too much big landing because they didn't interact enough for like big shots to truly land. I don't know if this man hurt his hand or he just like, I feel like him getting hit kind of did it, but man, I'm disappointed in him. Like, I would be totally okay with his style and people being like, oh, he run and, blah, blah, blah. If he, like someone said when I first got on the call, if he threw a shot like every blue moon, if he threw a shot and hit him in the hip, hit him anywhere, just like to throw a shot just to show the refs that you are controlling and, you have it completely under control, which is why people can't take away from Floyd, because even though Floyd does not throw more punches than the person, he throws enough punches to clearly show a person that, yeah, I only landed 15 punches, but out of the 20 that I threw, them 15, you definitely saw them.
Mention Floyd Mayweather boxing sauce. Why he had to mention Floyd Mayweather?
I don't know. I mean, Floyd seems to be the one who does it the best because Rigondeaux disappointed me because he didn't throw shots. And I mean, does Laura do that? Can we relate that to what Laura does?
Pernell Whitaker, I think, was the best that I've ever seen do it. He would put himself, there's an echo somewhere. He would put himself in a corner and dare you to try and hit him, spin out, and then he would throw a flurry of punches. That's what he did well. I mean, to me, Rigondeaux could engage if he wanted to, and he could have hurt this guy if he wanted to. He simply did not. He looked like Fred Astaire out there.
I don't know if I'm sorry, Troy. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, man. I'm done.
I don't know if I believe that though, Troy, because you know the reason why I said I'm gonna use Agent Broner. You remember years back when after the Maidana fight where we like Broner, he can do it and he can do it, and we know all he got to do is just go to the next level. If he could have done it, I think he would have done it. And even if he could have done it, could be mentally. Like if you mentally don't think you can do it, you can't do it. So I don't think he could have done it because if he truly wanted to do it, his coach was literally telling him, stand there, throw some more shots. His coach told him to throw more shots. He didn't want to do it. I mean, yeah, it could be a draw, but somebody throwing punches versus somebody else not throwing punches. He didn't do it because he couldn't do it.
Was that Ronnie Shields?
Ronnie Shields told him you got this guy. This guy's afraid of you. Blah blah blah. Throw more shots. Ronnie Shields literally kept telling him, throw more shots. Stand there, hit him, throw that left hand. You got him. I don't see Ronnie Shields probably training him for too much longer. Like Rigo is a very talented fighter, and if he'd have threw 5 punches around, you have to give him like boxing superbness because he's making you miss. Like he was making him miss, and it looked very artistic. It was beautiful, but then he didn't do nothing. Like it's exactly the basketball. Somebody, you're on the court, somebody dribble and they make you fall, but then they just keep dribbling, and then the moment it has left. I love playing people like that because they don't shoot, they don't make shots. You can dribble all you want to, but you can't make a shot. Rigondeaux disappointed me, man. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm just a bit disappointed.
So basically, Guillermo Rigondeaux is the Kyrie Irving of no, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I like I was saying earlier, like if this fight was a draw, I wouldn't have blamed it. I wouldn't have had any issues with it. One bit if it was a draw. I just didn't feel like, it was definitive that a fighter, clearly won more than 6 rounds in this particular fight. And if anyone did, then, I thought it would have been Rigondeaux. But, I thought, the thing about, ring generalship and defense, would count in that particular bout. But, I guess it didn't in this particular instance. And, it ended up costing them. But, I did say, while watching it live that, I posted on the Boxing Source Twitter, I said, Rigondeaux is making, Casimero miss badly, but the offense, might end up costing him on the cards, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike, and then I got
Can someone?
J-Ro coming on.
Oh, sorry, J-Ro. Can someone outclass another person without landing scoring shots? Is that possible?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, you can, Warwick. I know you can, but I'm saying if you don't land scoring shots, then how do you win the fight? Excuse me, let me clarify. If you don't land scoring shots and the other person is hitting you in the hip, hitting you, like while he's out of range, but he's
Can you
still
drive?
throwing and he's landing stuff, whether it's effective or not, and you're not landing any shots, and he's hitting you in the hip, hitting you in the knee, hitting you wherever. Can you win the fight that way?
Well, winning and outclassing is two different things. You can be a better fighter with a better skill set and applying some of those skill sets and still lose the fight because maybe the person that you're going up against, their skill, whatever they do well, that one thing or multiple things is just better on that night or catches the judge's eye on that night.
If you outclass somebody, I would argue, unless you got knocked out, the odds of you, if I say the word outclass, that means that it is very highly likely that they're gonna win the fight. If you get outclassed, that's how I feel about someone outclassing someone. You shouldn't use that word if the fight is debatable.
Oh, you still on what rank? I thought if you had a response there, but I thought J-Ro was going to come back on here in a bit.
No, yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off what you said about your tweet, and I want to say that was especially the case in California. California likes the fighters to come forward, so that's why I knew the decision was Rigo-Casimero. I thought if they fought in New York, then Rigondeaux probably would have gotten the decision. Because Rigondeaux, New York, they like the movers. The judges over there, they like guys that move around, boxers. So that in California, it was more of a Casimero judging. If they would have fought in New York, it would probably be more of a Rigondeaux type of judges. But yeah, I don't care who won. Like I said, the fight sucked.
Yeah, so you basically just said like both fighters were garbage in that particular fight. So it was like,
I was not impressed by either one.
Yeah. Now the thing with the undercard, you had Rau'shee Warren. Basically he just like blew out his opponent there, man. Like nobody really expected that from Rau'shee Warren. In that particular bout there, bantamweight, he just went in there against Damian Vasquez, and Vasquez, the same guy that fought the Heartbreaker, and and ended up losing that fight, and then he went down to bantamweight to face Rau'shee Warren, and Warren just said, you know what, I'm gonna just go back to my days when I was known for my power, and Vasquez just could not deal with that from the first round, and was knocked down on, in round one twice, and then, got caught with another shot, in this round two, and they just, immediately stopped it after that. So Rau'shee Warren, trying to get himself back into the mix in the bantamweight division. And, the co-feature bout, you had, Gary Antonio Russell against Emmanuel Rodriguez, and Russell was saying that he wanted to, kind of like show that he could compete against, former world champion, get himself in the mix. Probably, would have been in line for a shot at a world title after this particular fight. That's what, he was talking about last week when he was, on our YouTube channel in our phone conversation. But, it was just not even 16 seconds in when, he, went ahead, he missed the shot, and then moved forward, came forward, and, Rodriguez's face just hit his skull and almost like broke his nose in two or something like that, So that ended up being an immediate no contest. And I think they're going to revisit the fight. I don't know if it's going to be within a couple months or so, but yeah, that fight's going to, I feel like that fight's going to still happen though,
Yeah, I want to say who would have guessed that Rau'shee Warren was going to be the best fighter on that card?
Right.
But he was. Warren was the best fighter last night on that card. And yep. I feel bad for Gary Antonio Russell. because this could have been his breakout performance.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's back-to-back fights one against Payano,
Yep.
and now with Emmanuel Rodriguez, where it ended with a head clash.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to be a trend with him. He threw that hook. He was very aggressive with his head when he threw the hook. But it's just unfortunate that it happened to him.
Yeah, I think it's something about how he goes forward with a lot of his power shots. So the thing about it is that we got to see if he's going to be able to kind of like work on that a little bit. Maybe I'll get him back on on a conversation here within the week to see what he says about how the fight went down and whatnot. So that was just a bad break for him. A lot of people were really backing him to get that win over Rodriguez, but that's how the breaks are sometimes. So we'll see how things work out for him when he gets back in it. I want to hold on. Let me get my guy back since Mike made a request offline to request for Matt to get back on here, so we had to join back in.
What you want, Mike?
Oh, you think I got beef with something, Matt? Did you think that's why I asked you back, bro?
Well, what you want, man?
I was trying to give you props, but I ain't gonna do it now. I ain't gonna
I'm
give you
sorry.
props.
Well, no, praise me. Come on. My bad.
No.
We off on the wrong foot, man. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, bro?
Oh, pretty good, man. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's going on?
Man, I saw your boxing. What was it called with the girl?
Oh,
the boxing versus.
Boxing versus. So Matt, you definitely won. But I'm about to hate on you
that
for
boy
a second.
up.
Yes, you did, but I'm about to hate on you. I think his debate skills are like very subpar. That's part of the reason why you won too. Because
according to him, he's like the greatest debater on social media.
Like when I was listening to him answer, he gave how you be like write an answer to this essay, and then you like at least give me 100 words, and he only gave like 30. And it was just like, the girl was like, are you sure you're done? Do you not want to keep going? And it was just like,
listen, all thing I know is when I was offered to debate him, I started smacking my lips like barbecue chicken alert.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert. Oh,
and
man.
And the second group of people had better questions. I wish they asked y'all those questions. Those were better questions to me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's up, man. I'm gonna see if somebody could join in the queue here, man. We got like a full thing here, man. So I'm gonna see Troy. I'm gonna see if I can get you back on here in the next thing here, real quick, if I can.
Okay, good, man. You want me to jump off?
Yeah, that could work.
Okay, brother.
No, I can jump on.
I'll just put you on queue. I'll put you on queue. So I'm gonna add in checking in from Tampa, brother Terrell. What's going on, man?
What's really going on, man? Everybody good?
What's going on, Chef?
Hey, real quick. So today was actually a good day, man. Had some leftover food, got all that put together, and I delivered some about 10 meals to homeless people. So that's really a good feeling, man.
Big ups to Taste by Terrell for doing that, man.
Yo, you never delivered me no food.
Oh. Congratulations, man.
And you know why?
So what's happening, Terrell, man? I was talking about the card over in California here before I go into the Ortiz-Kavaliauskas fight. So any quick thoughts on that card with Rigo-Casimero and Russell versus Rodriguez, and then Rusty Warren getting that second round knockout like cannabis.
No, so I didn't get to see the early fights in my Mike Ready voice.
Oh wow!
No.
I mean, sticks and stones. I don't feel bad about not watching these fights.
No, for real though. So I already saw the Rigo fight. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, the only way to really beat the hell out of Rigo is to put him in a small ring. That way he doesn't have that much room to move around. they had a big ring there last night, so he could just go all over the place, and it was just a case of Casimero just trying to cut him off and get some punches in. I mean, two things. I mean, you can look at this from two ways from Rigo's side. He said that he loves his style. It works for him. I mean, that's pretty much like a perfected amateur style, right? But we know in the pros you have to actually score by hitting your opponent, not just constantly running away, things like that. I mean, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. So I mean, I know Jay, you posted a question on Twitter. Did Rigo get robbed? No, he didn't. I mean, the thing about it, he actually fought his kind of fight, and he made Casimero fight his kind of fight too. Because when you look at the final punch outputs from both fighters, significantly very low, especially for your lighter weight classes. Typically, your lighter weight classes, those guys are throwing like 100 plus punches per round, things like that. That was very low when you look at the final result from both fighters. But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's 40 years old. He still can fight, but he just doesn't want to engage. And like I said, Mike said, I wish he just come back and break somebody's jaw. That's what we want, but that's not his style, and he refused to change. So, I mean, even in the post-fight interview, Jim Gray asked him direct questions, right, in regards to how do you think you're going to win a fight like this? You just said, "This is my style." And even more funny, on the post-fight interview with Jim Gray, when he's interviewing the Casimero camp, whatever interpreter that guy is, he just basically put all of his input in and said, Rigo's purse should be taken from him. That's a pathetic performance. Take him out of boxing, boom, boom, boom. And Jim Gray fired back, is that your opinion or Casimero's opinion? But I think that a lot of us would probably share that same opinion. I mean, I don't say kick him out of boxing or take his purse, but I mean, this is why Rigo hasn't blown up.
Nah, I think that came from yeah, I think that came from his manager. I don't think that came from Casimero. That came from his manager there.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's why they call that motherfucker knucklehead, because he don't know what the fuck he talking about.
You know, Terrell, you made me think of something.
What's that?
What I saw in Rigondeaux yesterday was the same thing that I saw from him in the Lomachenko fight. No, not Lomachenko. When he turned himself into Lomachenko and made him quit. So what I saw in the Lomachenko fight was Rigondeaux asking himself, "This man is literally outclassing me. The shots I land aren't really working. I'm kind of like really not in this fight, and I'm really not throwing punches. If I keep up, he's gonna start landing bigger shots, and he's gonna knock me out. Do I stop the fight now, no mas, or do I keep going and have to go to those deeper levels?" And he quit. So the similarity to me is his corner man is like, "Hey, throw more shots. You can outclass this guy. You can do this." And then he asks himself, do I want to go to the deeper levels? Do I want to push myself and strive for more and risk blah blah blah, risk whatever, or am I content with just doing what I know I can do? And I hate using the word running because hey, he threw one shot, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots in the round. I wouldn't call it running. I would call it, evasive tactics. But I think he sort of quit. Like he quit in a weird way to where he was content with, not engaging, and that's a form of quitting. Like not going deeper.
He was winning the fight. How did he quit?
Yeah,
how he won the fight? He threw no punches. What I'm saying, he quit because he has two options. He has two forks in the road where he can engage more and risk whatever, or he can be content with the same status quo and keep it uncertain.
I don't think he quit. I just think he's comfortable. He's entirely too comfortable, and he thinks that he could just get by with getting by right now. I didn't see a quit. The whole fight I was watching, I was like, why doesn't he throw more punches? He looks smooth moving, but I just think
because
he's too damn
mentally
comfortable.
quit.
I just think he's comfortable.
When I say quit, I don't mean like the formal quitting where he says I quit and I don't want to play no more. He's like quitting to me. Maybe quitting is the wrong word, but you know how in a race you have to decide whether or not you're gonna go for it or not.
So
And
you think he was fighting not to lose, basically?
Well, yeah, look at it. I mean, this guy has 20, 21 pro fights, and you think at the highest level you're going to beat the top guys, right? So look at all the top people. You got Lomachenko. I mean, I kind of throw that away because Lomachenko, that was not at Rigo's best weight. We know that. But when we look at the rest of the top guys, Nonito Donaire, Inoue, people like that, even Rushy Warren, all those people a lot of people that were on that card, Gary Russell, brother, things like that. You're not going to beat those guys with that low of a punch output. I mean, you have to score points. How do you score points? By connecting with punches, whether it be a power jab, your combinations, things like that. But if you're running around the ring, throwing connect with a punch here and there, and it's not a devastating punch, how can you win the fight? You can't.
Man, I thought Rigo won. Like, I honestly, I thought I was coming on this show for some smart boxing discussion, but all I found is a bunch of haters. Like, you guys, just because the fight wasn't
Explain hate,
pleasing,
Martin Brown. Go ahead and break down hate, because I just hear a bunch of opinions. I don't hear hate.
No, I hear hate because what part of the scoring criteria did Casimero beat Rigo in? Like, I don't understand.
in the effectiveness in the non-effectiveness of both of their shots, what's his name shots were more effective. In the non-effectiveness of the shots, Casimero shots were more effective.
He just didn't throw enough punches. I don't know how many times I got to repeat myself. I don't know what fight you were watching, or you probably watched them with the eyes of a jilted lover or something. But he did not throw enough punches, man. Plain and simple.
Well, I'm gonna go back and watch the fight again because I did DVR it because I was blessed to be in the presence of a legend like Rigo. So I will watch the fight again. I just don't think I'm gonna see anything different. I thought Rigo put on a master class.
Watch him get punched and shell up.
Yeah. Well, he did put on a master class of subtle movement without punching. Yeah, it was beautiful.
And Matt,
his defense was A1, but he ain't land anything. He didn't do anything offensively to want to win the fight.
And Matt, what about the old adage of you have to go in and decisively beat the champion? Did he do that?
I don't believe in that.
I don't believe in that aspect.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he could open up a dance studio after he leave boxing and do smooth as hell.
Or run for the Cuban track team.
Oh, come on. He wasn't running. Yo.
I didn't see any running in there now. I didn't see no running, but I did see some smooth movement. I just didn't see any punching.
I ain't never seen nobody.
No, I didn't see no running, brother. I didn't see running.
He was on his bike, but so what?
He was using subtle movement. I didn't see no running.
Yeah, my thing is, if you see somebody that's utilizing their back foot and trying to, move in a certain way, you got to learn how to cut off the ring. And Casimero just does not know how to cut off the ring. And I just thought that was really a key point over the course of that particular fight, is that if you want to try to, slow down or stop the movement of Rigo now, you're going to have to figure out how to get him cornered, and move laterally, a little bit better to say, okay, if I know that he's moving this way, let me get there first so that once he moves this way, I'm already there. And then once I'm there, I can tag him, boom. But he didn't really do that. He just, allowed Rigo to, utilize that real estate all around the edges of the ring, so
yeah.
That.
My guy J-Ro said something very interesting during the fight that a lot of people didn't catch on to. He said that these guys are in California with West Coast judges and they don't like the style of fight that Rigo was fighting. So who knows, if you were to put that fight on the East Coast, maybe Rigo gets the victory. Like I always say, different regions judge differently. They look
So
for
he can
different
win
things.
around without throwing one shot. Who they said the legend was who did that? He won around without throwing a shot.
Willie Pep.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna say
Everybody,
the
I'm
legend
sorry,
Rigo
but
won around without throwing a punch.
Yeah.
everybody talks about that one round really with Pep, but you got to understand he outpunched his opponent in the fight. Everybody focuses on that one round, but he outpunched his damn opponent in the fight. That's how he won the
Hey, let
fight.
me ask y'all something.
All these guys
Let me
are
ask y'all something
West
about.
Coast judges. Yeah, they're West Coast judges. Yep, all of them, either from Vegas or California. Yeah, go ahead, World Rank, and I'm gonna go into Ortiz Kavaliauskas. Well, World Rank, you had something? You had a question?
I got something real quick also before you move on too.
All right, go ahead, Terrell.
So with Casimero getting that win, does he beat Donaire or even anyway?
No.
What do you guys think? Remember, he has
I think he could beat Donaire. I don't think he could beat anyway.
Even at Donaire's advanced age for the weight class, I don't think he beats him. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, he has 4 losses. He's learned how to lose 4 times. I know he has a belt. I get that. You're good as your last performance, but I don't see him beating Donaire, especially with Donaire's recent resurgence. I don't see that.
It's hard for me to know how this man fight with this being the first time of me seeing him because I ain't seen no damn engagement. What I do know is he don't know how to cut the ring off. That's one thing I do know. He don't know how to, I was disappointed in the fight, man. I'm gonna just be quiet because I was disappointed.
Yeah, very disappointed, and ended up losing money. All right, now let's go into this thing with Vergil Ortiz-Egidijus Kavaliauskas. This was, one fight that people were looking at to see where Vergil Ortiz was at this particular level. In the second round, he did get tagged a little bit by Kavaliauskas. Was getting hit well with the counter shots of Kavaliauskas, but he was able to respond in the third round. He scored a knockdown in the third round, and then eventually broke down Kavaliauskas with like 4 knockdowns in the 8th round to score a KO victory before the end of that 8th round. Now he's still undefeated, 18 fights, 18 wins, 18 knockouts. I thought it was a little bit of a good little test there for Vergil Ortiz. He was moving a little bit with his head, trying to respond to what Kavaliauskas was doing. But I think he was like at a point where he didn't feel like Kavaliauskas could really hurt him. So he just got more confident in his power, and he was throwing like a power jab too, which was very key in this fight against Kavaliauskas. And I think it was like one win that builds his confidence, and we'll see what he's going to be able to do in the welterweight division. It's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do next or who they're going to match him up with next, because, I mean, he's still there as one of the top contenders in the WBO rankings. And, of course, we know how deep the welterweight division is, but he also is with Golden Boy. And so him getting this fight again with Kavaliauskas, I think that was more of like a, Edith Clima's deal where he was able to, work Kavaliauskas into that particular fight. But given Vergil Ortiz's performance, I thought it was a fairly good scrap for him, but I just feel like he needs to work a little bit more on defense because if he goes up against some guys that have a little bit of pop, yeah, he gets hit. If he gets hit clean, that's not gonna look all too good for him. And also, I think he did get knocked down in that particular round when he went to the canvas and they called it a slip. So Kavaliauskas was robbed of 2 knockdowns. I'm gonna just say that. But who wants to react first to that Ortiz Kavaliauskas fight and what
I'll
they
go ahead and step in here first, boxing sauce.
All right, Troy.
Very good win for the young man. Showed a lot of toughness. He did get hit a lot, but hey, that's part of the business. But very good win, and those body shots are no joke. So I think the fight he should really take now should either be Ennis or James. Has he fought James yet? The 6 foot
Jamal James.
Yeah, has he fought him yet?
Nah,
Nah.
nah. All
Okay.
those guys are, over on the
Either one of
PBC
those
side.
fights, right? Let him fight James or Ennis next, and then whoever wins that could take on the Thurman, the Spencers, the Porters, the Crawfords, and all them. Just give him one more fight. And you know what? I'm gonna send a shout out to Golden Boy, because how many times have people shoveled the dirt on their grave, right? Saying that, oh, okay, Golden Boy's dead. When they lost all the fighters to Al Heyman, when they lost Canelo is dead, they don't look dead to me. They don't look dead to me. And I'm very proud of that young man today, because I had him losing, actually.
Mm.
And it's good to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was gonna, end up getting the win. I just didn't know like how he was gonna get the win, because I just felt like Kavaliauskas just wouldn't have, enough oomph behind his punches to, really hurt Vergil Ortiz in this sense. But Ortiz was able to, do his thing as far as like his jab placement, and the way that he is like positioned, like his jab is like a power jab. Like when he hits you like bam. And he does put like 3-punch, 4-punch combinations together well. So I think that's a good thing for him. I just think like yeah, he does have to work on his defense a little bit, and yeah, I'd be very interested to see who he'd be matched up against next. Who else was able to look at what happened with Ortiz and Kavaliauskas and have some comments on it?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. But so like my dude said, this was definitely Ortiz's most important win to date at this point. Definitely a big test for him. He passed. I also think that he got knocked down as well. So he got definitely got a gift from that. But other than that, it was definitely his most important win. And he said he wants to fight for a third time this year, which is great. Which doesn't always happen for all these Thai fighters. So he recognizes that he needs to keep his name in the mix near the top. He's close. He's close, but I don't think they would put him in against Ennis, because he would get embarrassed. He would really get embarrassed. He would get outclassed. It would be good for a few rounds with his power, but bottom line, we all know that skills pay the bills, and so I think Ennis would definitely embarrass him. So I don't see that happening no time soon. But once again, it was his best win to date, and very important, because with that said, in light of what's going on with Spence, we don't know what's going to happen with his belts, things like that. So you never know. A belt or two could be coming available. And if you're fighting and you're active and you're winning, you're winning by knockout, they're gonna be looking at you, and that's gonna be whether it be with Golden Boy, PBC or whatever, they're gonna be looking at you to get you into those rankings and stuff like that. I don't know where he stands in the rankings for IBF, WBA, WBC, but once again, if you're winning, you're active, that's a good thing. So it's a great win for him. His name's in the mix. He wants to fight again. Good test. He passed the test, so it's good. So like I said, get in line. It's kind of similar to heavyweight, with belts been tied up. Now they may become available. Well, once again, you're winning, got your name out there, so right in there, right in the mix.
Well, for the rankings, Vergil Ortiz is barely entered in the IBF rankings. As I guess before this weekend, he was at 15. But in the WBC, he's ranked number 4, below Porter, Manny, and Mikey. So, maybe they could do something with him and Mikey. That could be something. I mean, Mikey Garcia had a fight there at
No,
that star in
they
Frisco,
same
but
trainer.
same
They both
trainer.
with
That's the
Robert
only
Garcia.
problem, And that's the thing. Robert Garcia had 2 of his fighters fighting on the same night. Last night. So, and both of those guys got wins too. So that was, big for him. Now there was one other guy that could have been suggested as an opponent for Vergil Ortiz, but Golden Boy didn't necessarily want to, I guess, make that fight, and that's Rashidi Ellis. And as we see, as of this current juncture, like Rashidi Ellis is on the verge of, trying to get out of that deal with Golden Boy, because they ain't really doing much with him, So, Matt, what do you think about Vergil Ortiz?
I thought his performance was excellent, and it was exactly what I was looking for. you know, we saw with Devin Haney against Linares, when Haney got clipped, he never really recovered. He was too busy trying to hold on. When Ortiz got clipped, not only did he recover, but he didn't get caught with the same shot again, which is what you worry about with young fighters if they're able to adjust on the fly. I thought what we saw from Ortiz was a great deal of toughness, a great deal of resiliency, and we saw some boxing smarts. Now, you were saying that he should be better defensively, but if you look um, towards the middle rounds of the fight, he started seeing every punch coming from Kavaliauskas, and he started dipping and ducking underneath the punches, and Kavaliauskas was coming up just short, just short, just short. So I think that Ortiz basically was able to slip and slide defensively while also stay in range offensively, which is why you saw him beat up and break down and eventually stop Kavaliauskas.
Yeah, I mean, I did see the head movement from him. And I think that, he was trying to, work on zeroing in on the timing of Kavaliauskas in that particular sense. So yeah, he was doing that. It's just that, I gotta see like how he would do against someone that has a little bit more power behind their punch. And if he gets caught flush, how he would be able to react to that. So that's gonna be remaining to be seen. I think, with Ortiz, they've kind of like said that he's really up there as far as like where his position is in the welterweight division. But I don't know like what his next direction is going to be. They might have like another like a filler fight of sorts for Vergil Ortiz if he does have another fight before the end of the year. Big Mike, you were going to go on here in a bit.
Yep. So I agree with Matt on the point that he made in that we definitely got to see Ortiz's face some adversity. We got to see him face some adversity, and we saw him be resilient. And so that is sort of getting questions answered. What you look for in a young fighter or any fighter, when the going get tough, how do they respond? What's their body language? What's their mental state? Are they fighting to win? Do they concede the round just to get the cobwebs out their head? And then from there, how do they concede the round? The one thing I will say, and Matt gonna not like this, is that this fight showed me less about Ortiz and showed me more about Kavaliauskas.
Exactly.
And in turn, guess who else it told me something about?
I know.
So what it told me about Kavaliauskas is the guy's a front runner. He doesn't do very well.
It's not
Like
true.
he can get out the gate and you like, damn, this dude about to beat me. But then you start seeing him like slow down after that first lap. He's a front
What does
runner,
it tell
and
you about
so
Crawford? Because that's what you're leading up to. So what does it tell you about Crawford? Go ahead.
okay, I'll say it, but let me talk about Kavaliauskas so I can keep pissing Matt off. But he's a front runner. He reminds me of Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy being fights in the beginning. It's competitive in the first few rounds. What's my boy who beat Charlo? Harrison,
Tony Harrison.
Harrison, or even the guy.
You guys,
Well, I'm not sure on Ugas. What's the dude from New York who's very disciplined, but he got knocked out a couple times?
that's
What division?
He's in. He got knocked out by Charlo.
you talking about the cat from Philly?
Philly. I'm sorry, from Philly. I'm sorry. He's from Philly.
Oh, that's J-Rock.
J-Rock. So he's like those guys to where he starts off very strong, but then as the fight goes on and he start losing his mental focus, you see him sort of unravel. And I think that's a component of training. It's a component of a lot of things. But what it tells me about Terrence Crawford is it's like the Indongo effect. When Indongo fought for the undisputed with 2 titles, you're like, okay, Terrence Crawford did his thing. He got this undisputed fight. But the more that Indongo fought, the guy's not that good. And so Kavaliauskas is the type of level of fighter that you put a young fighter against to see where they're at. Like, I would put him probably not even on this level. Luis Collazo, but Luis Collazo is better than him.
I can't wait to step in here, but just go ahead
go
and
ahead.
finish. I hear you. I hear all your assessments, but to me, that doesn't take anything away from Crawford. Crawford had a tough fight with him because he's a tough fighter.
In the beginning.
No, okay. Well, let me finish. Here's my belief when it comes to Kavaliauskas. He's good. He's just not good enough. Period. Just like you guys, he's good, but he's not good enough. There's this it factor that's missing. He's tough enough to get up, but is he tough enough to always get up? And we got our answer yesterday. There's no knock on Terrence Crawford, because if Terrence Crawford had any chinks in his armor or any weaknesses, them boys would have fought him already. And the fact that they're not fighting him gives you the proof, says something about him. It's not his fault.
It says tell you something about his promoter.
No. Stop. Hold on a second. Boys. When you offer someone money and they turn it down, you can't do nothing about that. And when someone wants $10 million after a loss, you can't do nothing about that.
Keith Thurman didn't ask for $10 million. He asked for $5 million. Why do we keep running?
Okay. Why the hell would he ask for $5 million after a loss?
Doesn't matter. It's not
yes, it does matter.
No.
Yes, it does matter.
What matters is how
who else would he ask for $5 million after a loss? Who else would he ask for $5 million after? Why did he ask for $5 million after a loss?
Because the fight is
when has he ever gotten paid $5 million? When has he ever gotten paid $5 million?
Oh, I got a question for you.
When? Huh?
You're telling me that Thurman versus Crawford won't generate a lot of money?
Thurman makes $4 million, so you get paid more than the champion.
Crawford makes
$4 million, so you gonna get more than the champion?
I don't care about Crawford's deal with Top Rank. What I'm asking you
is, you should.
Do you think Crawford versus Thurman would generate a lot of money?
It might generate a lot of interest. Yeah, I don't know about money. Interest, sure.
Well,
money,
then there's Terrence Crawford's problem, because
no. That's not Terrence Crawford's problem, because Manny Pacquiao wanted $40 million to fight him, but he took $20 million to fight Spence. What does that tell you?
That's not true either. Manny Pacquiao was never even really.
Listen.
He was never.
Me personally, all I could go on is the facts. The facts is that offer was made to Garcia, offer was made to Thurman, offer was made to Pacquiao. And it's been back and forth with Spence, and each of these men said no. There was a reason why they said no. Now back to Kavaliauskas and Crawford.
Can I ask you a question, Tori?
They had all the negotiations in there. Crawford was not mentioned anywhere in the lawsuit. Go look at the lawsuit that was filed against Pacquiao.
I don't know about no lawsuit, brother. I said fights and deals.
These are facts on record.
Man, I got a factual question. Let me ask my factual
question. Go ahead, MG. Go ahead.
Because it wasn't a fight really being negotiated.
Let me ask him a question, man. So, Terrence Crawford. How do you feel about Terrence Crawford's run at 140? His historic run. How do you feel that places him in terms of like history? Tell me your thoughts on that, Troy.
His entire career places him in history, not just one thing that he did. So to ask me what he did in one weight class,
on the 140 run. I'm actually specifically on the 140 though.
But you can't do that because that's not his entire career, man. You can't base his entire career based on one thing that he did, because he was in 3 different weight classes. So
he has a great career. Let's agree to that. But your thoughts on his 140 run, tell me. I'm just specifically.
He won and he was successful. That's my thought on it. He won and he was successful.
Okay, he won and he was successful. So in terms of who he beat to be undisputed, give me your thoughts on his undisputed run. I want more of your
He beat the
thoughts.
champions that were up there to be beat. End of discussion. He beat the champions that were up there to be beat. More so than these dudes did here at 147. Whatever champions were up there, he beat them. These cats at 147 can't say that because they're not fighting him and they're not fighting each other. Next question.
That's fair. That's fair. So,
Wait,
would you agree that Terrence Crawford is a better fighter than Danny Garcia?
I would agree based on what I see that he's a better fighter with Danny than Danny Garcia. All of that will be proven when they get in the ring.
So projection-wise, you think Crawford is a better fighter just based off of what you see from both of them? Okay.
Based off of what I see, yes.
Okay. I would say it's arguable that Terrence Crawford is a better fighter than Danny Garcia. I'm going to tell you why. Danny Garcia's run at 140, to me, was a lot better than Terrence Crawford's. Danny Garcia, who he fought, beat, knocked out. He beat a what's the dude name who Canelo knocked out? I'm forgetting everybody's name. Amir Khan.
If this dude is so good and he fought so many good fighters, why you don't know their names, man? Come on now.
Because I've been doing a lot of stuff. My air conditioner broke down. And I'm trying to fix it. Yeah, I'm a
get some
first-time
church
homeowner.
fans, man, and get some fans for the window and just make it happen. You know how we do. Okay, go ahead.
Man, it's hot. You hear this noise in the background? It's hot, man. I done grown bougie, dog.
Well, hell, your Jackson fans work for me, brother. Come on now, go ahead.
All right, so what I'm saying is Danny Garcia's run at 140 is head over heels better than Terrence Crawford's run. We can project to say Terrence Crawford has more skill than Danny Garcia, but based upon their body of work, even probably at 147 too, Danny Garcia has a better body of work at 147. But the thing that puts Terrence Crawford ahead of him, because skill-wise, you can say that Terrence Crawford is better than Danny Garcia, but Danny Garcia is more proven based upon who Danny Garcia has fought. So what I'm saying is, sure, you can make your comment that Terrence Crawford, they're not fighting, these guys aren't fighting him, and he's better because of blah, 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 but it's arguable to say that Terrence Crawford is even better than Danny Garcia, who's probably the third best welterweight or the fourth best. It's arguable because Danny Garcia has a better fighting record. He has a better body of work, which is why you can't put Terrence Crawford above Canelo, even though Terrence Crawford is skill-wise probably better than Canelo. Potentially.
Go ahead, Terrell. Wait. Stop right there for a second.
Canelo because of Canelo's
stop right
body
there
of
for
work.
a second for me, please. MG, can you stop right there for a second? Did you just say that Crawford is better than Canelo? But
no, he said Canelo.
What did he say?
He said that Canelo, are you putting Canelo above Crawford skill-wise?
I'm saying Terrence Crawford is probably better skill-wise than Canelo, but
stop right there.
Canelo.
Let me just say right there for me. So you can hear hold up right there for me, because I do remember you saying. You do remember you saying that Garcia is better than Crawford. So what you're saying is, is Crawford is better than Canelo. So you're saying that Danny Garcia is better than Canelo because he's better than Crawford.
If you let me say what I'm saying, what I said was Danny Garcia's body of work is better. Who he has fought and who he has shown through merit to have beaten.
Not at 147 it is.
Is better than Terrence Crawford's body of work.
The
reason why you can't put Terrence Crawford above Canelo pound for pound is because Canelo's body of work is better than Terrence Crawford.
Not in the totality of their career, it is not.
Excuse me?
Not in the totality of their career. Because this man has never lost.
I feel like you said not Canelo.
This man has never lost yet. So you can't say that he's better than him. He's never lost yet.
I'm not saying skill-wise. I'm saying in terms of his body of work, who he has proven through competition and beaten. His body of work is better.
Wants to jump in here, so go ahead, Terrell.
I'm just blown away by this guy saying that Keith Thurman can't get $5 million, but they gave $5 million to Amir Khan. This is crazy to me. And this
Amir Khan got a country behind him, brother. Amir Khan got a country behind him.
And how much was that worth? Nothing.
Thurman has a perm behind him.
Thurman has
You ain't got no
pay-per-view
country. You got a
buys.
firm though.
Thurman has pay-per-view buys and has viewership numbers behind him in
Pacquiao has
America.
pay-per-view buys. Pacquiao does.
And
That was
Thurman.
Thurman's only pay-per-view, right?
So let me
That was
ask you a
Thurman's only
question. Let me ask
pay-per-view.
you a question. So why did the Thurman fight sell more than the Broner fight if it was just about Pacquiao?
Why did the sun come up today? I have no answer for you. Okay,
That's
the
what I
fact
said,
is,
Troy, you got to
the fact is that Pacquiao carried both pay-per-views.
I don't
Period.
think so. I don't think so.
Okay,
But okay.
that-
so
But I guess we'll never
show
find
me,
out because Top
show
Rank.
me your proof why you don't think so. That's all I'm asking.
I'll show you Keith
Troy, you making me
Thurman's
feel like the Rigondeaux
ratings.
fight.
Oh
I
no.
don't get that, but you know,
I'm starting to
yo,
be disappointed in your logic here. That's what
I
I'm
know
saying.
Terrell wanted to jump in here, so go ahead, Terrell. I've seen him take his mic off a couple of times.
Oh no, I'm. You already know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get some food together. I'm just enjoying the conversation at this point. But,
You a chef?
I mean, but
You a
let me
chef?
say this. So even at 140, 1 point, Troy. 1 point you made at 140, Crawford beat who was presented to him to beat. Right? Look back at Roy Jones. Let me see, Roy Jones Jr. He didn't have that top opposition, but he beat who he had to beat, who's right there in front of him, and he did it in dramatic style. So when you consider Crawford's career at 140, that's who was there. It's not his fault that there were not other great people for him to beat. So,
Can I ask you a question, Terrell?
Yeah.
Would you consider Bernard Hopkins top competition?
Of course he would. Go ahead.
Because Bernard Hopkins, after he lost to Roy, went on a 13-year undefeated streak. So
10
we
years.
can also look at what guys do after they fight someone if we're gonna say in the moment it's not top competition. So to me, to say that Roy didn't fight top competition is a bit of a misnomer, because look what one of his opponents went on to do: dominate the middleweight division and become undisputed. It's just that Roy was just so head and shoulders above the competition that in the moment we didn't know he was fighting top competition.
That's a brilliant
You got
assessment,
James Stoney too.
Matthew, that's a brilliant assessment. Now, who has since we talking about Danny Garcia is better than Crawford? No, let's stick to Thurman because that's what we were talking about, me and you.
Yeah, let's talk about Thurman.
Who was Thurman fought that went on to beat and fought that went on to do bigger and better things? Break it down so it forever be broken.
We talking about Showtime Sean Porter.
Sean Porter.
Yes. Okay. Yes. What has he done? I know he won another title and then he lost.
Yeah,
that's
a big thing. Winning another title is a big deal.
Okay.
Winning another title is a big deal. Let's not downplay that.
Anybody else?
The point I would want to make is that fighters get either elevated. Fighters get either elevated or deflated based upon what their opponents do after them. So if you beat somebody today and they go, like, people who have beaten Adrian Broner, that win don't look so great now because Adrian Broner, when the last time has he won? Like, Adrian Broner ain't that. He's okay. He's like a B- fighter probably, but you have to look at a person's body of work post whatever, like their career body of work to decide where that person goes, and then how you rate said person. Could it be like age or something? Sure, why not? Because Floyd Mayweather beating Canelo, some of that had to do with age, but some of it had to do with Floyd being outclassing Canelo. I would also say Sean Porter as well.
All right. So in that sense, the only guy that Terrence Crawford has faced in a good while that had actually won a title after Crawford beat him was what? Ray Beltran. Because after that win, you got Delorme, Deary John, Hank Lundy, Victor Postal, John Molina, Felix Diaz, Julius Ndongo, Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez, Amir Khan, Kavaliauskas, and Kell Brook.
Well, I will say that the Postal victory looks very good because Terrence Crawford beat Postal easier than the next generation of junior welterweights.
So that's Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
Both
Oh,
of
the
those
same
guys.
division that he won the undisputed in that ain't that good. That same division. Oh, okay.
Hey, listen. He went through he went through 2 generations of fighters. Crawford proved to be head and shoulders above him. The rest of the guys proved to be neck and neck with him. So does that mean that the division is worse now than when Crawford was in it? Or did we underrate the division while Crawford was in it? That's a question that, is for you guys to argue amongst yourselves on a future show. But
He fought Ndongo for undisputed. Ndongo ain't that good.
that's correct.
Like I said,
But let's not forget, Undisputed came after Terrence Crawford already beat Paul Stahl. So to me, I look at Terrence Crawford as cleaning out the division 2 times.
Basically he beat the highest ranked person in post all before
Exactly.
becoming undisputed at 140. So
Do we think
that was
Danny
the beat.
Garcia could have done everything that Terrence Crawford did? Do you think Danny Garcia
Absolutely.
could have done that?
Absolutely.
He
Danny,
didn't, so I would have to say no. He didn't, so I'd have to say no.
I think Danny
He did it
Garcia
in a
run at
better fashion.
140.
He did it
Danny Garcia run at
against better
140 was
crop of
better.
people.
Yeah. Danny Garcia run at 140 was better, in my opinion.
And he didn't get undisputed. His was so much better. He fought quality names. Which is why
You
you
mean he
can't
fought
just
the names that
say
were there at the time? He fought the names that were there at the time, right? The same thing Crawford did.
That's my
Well,
great point.
listen, if it happens to be a weak division, it happens to be a weak division. We're not going to pretend like all names are created equal just because they have a belt. Some divisions are weaker than others. Not every division right now is the same strength. It is what it is. But we have to acknowledge when a division is weak. We have to acknowledge
exactly. Just like at 147 is weak because ain't nobody there that could say that they standing
147
out.
is not weak.
Okay, well, I don't know one fighter that stands out above anybody else.
I think Errol Spence
Spencer's
stands out above everybody else.
resume. No, Porter has the best resume of them all because he fought everybody. He didn't beat everybody,
Fighting
but he fought
everybody doesn't
everybody.
give you the best resume. Fighting and beating quality opposition gives you
Okay,
the
but
best resume.
Spence only beat Brook, who Crawford beat. He beat Porter, who Crawford's about to fight, and he beat Garcia, and that's it.
Crawford beat Brook
That's
in
it.
2020.
And Peterson.
I don't care. I don't care. He beat him.
You should care
He
because
beat him. I know. No. Now you're making excuses. He beat him.
After Triple G beat him too.
He's fighting Porter in 2021, so I guess that don't count either.
It does count. Porter is still at
why?
It don't count in 2021.
Why?
Because Porter is still at the height of his powers. That's why. Now let's hope that fight gets made.
As far as I know, Brook was winning at 150.
Oh.
As far as I know, that Brook was on a win streak when he came into that fight. So how was he not at the height of his stage? He was on a win streak.
Well, to me, I don't know if you're trolling or if you're being serious.
I'm
right
not
now,
trolling. He was on a 3-fight win streak.
So hold on.
Come on,
Troy. Are you saying that Spence is not the class of 147 right now? Is that really what you're saying?
I'm saying he's the class. He might have the name, but Porter's the one who's fought everybody. That's what I'm saying.
I thought you was a Crawford fan. I thought you was a Crawford fan.
No, absolutely not. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of boxing. Period. Yes, I'm a fan of Crawford. I appreciate Spence. I appreciate Porter. I like them all, brother. I can't really be like Jan say I'm gonna pick this one and I'm gonna turn my back on the rest. That makes no sense to me. No sense at all. No.
Well, what makes no sense to me is that you think that Kell Brook in 2020 is the same as Kell Brook.
He was on a 3-fight win streak, so you can't wash him away like that.
I said,
he was on a 3-fight win streak.
Either you watch boxing or you don't. You can't.
I do a whole lot more than just watch, brother. I do a whole lot more than just watch. The show is not about me.
You can't tell me that the circumstances were the same. Like for you to make it seem like Kell Brook.
The circumstances are the same because the bell rang and 2 men fought. And Brook lost to both of them. Tell me how different the circumstances were.
Sergey Rabchenko, Michael Zarafa, and Mark DeLuca was the 3-fight run streak that Kell Brook had before his fight against.
Win streak nonetheless, right? Win streak nonetheless. Because Spence only has 3 names on his resume, 3 in his whole career.
3?
Right? That's it. That's all he got.
So?
He has 3. Yes. I don't think I know for a fact. He has 3 top names on his resume. That's it.
What's the 3 names? I'm curious.
I just named them: Brook, Porter, and Garcia. That's it.
But what about Lamar Peterson?
Exactly.
If you're
What
telling me
about him?
you're telling me
What about
circumstances
him? We
don't
all know
matter
what
when
was
it
going
comes to
on with
Brooke.
Lamar. I'm
What
from the
about Mikey?
DMV area, just like Boxing Sauce. And the guy that fought him that night was not the top Lamar Peterson. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I don't even want to hear that mess.
but
He
Terrence
was
Crawford fought the
he
top
was
Kell
a
Brook.
good fighter, but
But
he
Terrence
wasn't the top
Crawford
Lamar
fought the
Peterson.
top Kell
So
Brook.
I don't want to hear that.
But
No,
Terrence Crawford
I
fought the
said
top
top.
Kell Brook.
I said top. He was
All
the
right.
top. He wasn't a top welterweight when he fought him, was he? No, he was not. Thank you. No.
All right. Who
I
had a
have a
question?
question. I did.
All right.
So this is also to go against the the fighter still being the same type of fighter. So Muhammad Ali lost against Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes gets that win, and that goes down as an awesome win. But was Muhammad Ali the same fighter that he was?
It didn't go down as an awesome win. I don't know where you get awesome win from. It did not go down
How
as
many
awesome
people
win.
can say they beat Muhammad Ali? Hall of
I
Fame
think
fighter. How many
five.
people?
I think five.
Five. Okay. So Larry Holmes went on and had a 50 plus fight streak. Within that 50 plus fight streak,
40
that
plus.
included
40 plus.
thank you. That included Muhammad Ali. So what I'm saying is, does that win over Muhammad Ali look like the same win that Joe
Joe
Frazier got?
Frazier.
Oh my God. You know what? You could ask me and Larry Holmes that question, and he will honestly tell you no. Larry Holmes will honestly tell you no. It just is not because he know that he didn't beat Ali. He beat what was left of Ali, and he would tell you that himself.
So
He
what's different
cried.
than Terrence
He
Crawford
cried.
beating what's left of Kell Brook, who got both his
Terrell Brook
eyes
wasn't
broken?
a shell of his fighter because he was on a 3-fight win streak.
I
He
mean, he
wasn't
got
on.
both
He
his
wasn't
eyes
a
broken.
shell.
He
He
actually
wasn't a
was a shell of
shell.
himself. He was physically a shell. He's physically a shell of himself.
How was he physically a shell coming off a 3-fight win streak?
What was his injury? Somebody tell me the
Oh God!
scientific name of his injury.
Answer my question, man. Stop focusing on the eye. He was on a
Because
three
that
fight
is
win
why.
streak.
I'm
He
trying to
was
tell
not
you
the
why.
same
You
of
asked me why.
Ali.
Okay.
Ali
Because
was a
he had
shell of
two
himself.
broken
He couldn't
orbital
even
bones.
punch.
That's a
Did you
shell.
ever
That's
watch that
being a
fight?
shell of yourself.
Did you ever watch that fight?
Did you watch
Yes or
The
no?
Kell Brook versus Terrence
Kell
Crawford?
Did
Brook
you ever
fight?
watch the Ali Holmes fight?
Yes, I watched it.
It
It was an
wasn't. He
old man
wasn't
against a
no
young
man in
man.
there fighting. He
It was an
wasn't
old
no. He
man versus
wasn't.
a young man.
It wasn't no
Okay.
old man neither. He was in his 30s. He was a zombie in there because of his
Let me.
illness. He was done. He was finished. Brook wasn't like that. 3-fight win streak. He was not like that. You talking about a man who was
When I
suffering from something and shouldn't have never even been in the ring. There's no comparison. None.
you ain't saying then that's not much different than what I'm saying. We're saying close to the same thing but using different
How do
words.
you go on a 3-fight win streak and be called a shell and a zombie?
I
Explain it
think
to me.
Muhammad Ali had a win streak as well going into that. If I
No,
remember
he
correctly,
did not. No, he did not. He came out of retirement. You know he did not.
Okay. From
I'll confirm.
well, I'm going to move ahead to the preview of Pacquiao versus Ugas. But before I do that, um, I will mention one thing about Kell Brook and one of the opponents that he did fight in the 3-fight win streak. One of those guys was by the name of Mark DeLuca. He only had like one loss coming into that particular fight, and that loss was to Walter Wright, who he did rematch and did get a win against in 2018. But after Mark DeLuca fought Kell Brook and lost, he fought Javier Frazier, who had a record of 8-14-1. Roman
Who?
Barajas at 12-20,
Who?
and Michi Munoz, who was 28-12-1.
Oh my God. Oh
So,
my goodness
so there was that.
gracious.
Now, let's go into this thing here. Okay, we
Mhm.
got a fight. It's pay-per-view, and I know that. Yeah, I know Matt's not gonna go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas for the WBA welterweight championship. Yes, Pacquiao would have been fighting Errol Spence, but he had the pre-fight physical. He didn't pass the physical. He tried to get other doctors to approve him. No luck. So Spence is scratched. Ugas gets elevated, even though Ugas almost got scratched out of his fight against Fabian Maidana because Maidana had an eye issue. So now it's going to be Pacquiao versus Ugas. And, Pacquiao was preparing for a southpaw. Now he's preparing for an orthodox fighter and a tall, lanky, pretty much a troublesome type of fighter in Yordenis Ugas. And, I'm, a little bit concerned about how this is going to turn out. Some people, still are favoring Manny Pacquiao. I haven't checked the latest odds on it to see if there's like more money creeping in for Yordenis Ugas. But, I think this is going to be a really interesting style matchup here for Manny Pacquiao against Yordenis Ugas. And this is one for Ugas where this is the biggest fight of his career. This is one where, we kind of like seen if he could put himself in position for one of these fights. And so this is like his showcase fight here. Like he wanted to fight against the likes of Keith Thurman or Sean Porter. I mean, not Sean Porter, but Errol Spence. And he thought he was going to fight Errol Spence, but Manny Pacquiao stepped up and said, "Hey, okay, I'll, go ahead and fight." So that's what originally happened. And then, now with Errol Spence being scratched, a couple weeks before the fight's going to happen, now it's going to be Pacquiao versus Ugas. And, I don't know if anyone saw the pre-fight press conference, but, I don't know if Pacquiao was like really all too psyched for this particular fight. But, it's something where he's just saying like, hey, this is, just like another fight. What has it been, like 70? Would have been about 70 pro fights. This is going to be his 72nd pro fight, over 20 plus years and 72nd professional fight going up against Yordenis Ugas. So I don't know if they say Father Time is undefeated, but will it be this particular time for Manny Pacquiao against Yordenis Ugas? Open the floor for anybody that has their thoughts on this.
Can I speak on the comment that Troy asked me from last conversation?
All right, we got a counter. We got a counter real quick. Go ahead.
All right, so 1976 win over Ken Norton. 1977 win over Alfredo Evangelista. 1977 win over Ernest Shavers. 1978 a loss to Leon Spinks. 1978 a win over Leon Spinks. 1980 a loss to Larry Holmes. So all I'm saying is, yes, we all saw that he was a shell of himself, but he was on a 8-1 win streak.
78 to 80 is 2 years, right? 78 to 80 is 2 years. Can we move on to the subject at hand now? Can we move on to the subject at hand now, please?
How long was Kell
Can we move
Brookoff
on to
before he
Ugas
fought
and Pacquiao now,
Weston?
please? Can you please? That's 2 years right there. So we can move on to Pacquiao and Ugas.
Nevertheless, you're making it seem like just because someone had a 3-fight fighting record that means
he
something.
didn't have a 2-year layoff. Thank you. Let's talk about the current thing, man.
Yeah, I mean we could talk about the current thing, even though Brooke had a 2-year layoff, but it was against Marco DeLuca when he got back. But yeah, let's go to Pacquiao real quick.
Ugas and Pacquiao, and anybody, please, anybody.
Like I know somebody got to be interested in this thing. Come on,
MG, like. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and jump in here.
Hold on. Yeah, real quick. I got something too. So let's look at the late career of Mr. Manny Pacquiao and parallel that to the late career of Bernard Hopkins, who fought just listen. So look at this. Until Joe Smith Jr. knocked Bernard Hopkins out, we know he was able to extend his career to whatever age he was at. So in consideration of that, how long was Bernard Hopkins effective until Father Time took over? And we're looking at Manny Pacquiao. We know he last fought against Keith Thurman, 2019. He's definitely effective. He didn't show any signs of slowing down, things like that. And now we fast forward a year and a half later. We know he's going to fight Ugas and things like that. Had a long layoff. And like I said last week, Guy has not had any rough wear and tear on his body. He's been able to have his body recover, stay away from boxing, things like that. Plays a lot of basketball. He stays in shape. He's never overweight, never blows up like that, as we see. So, like I said, as we parallel those two careers, right, how much longer can be effective? Because what we're looking at is he's going to be 42 years old going to this fight. And like we all say, Father Time is undefeated. But me personally, I think he's just special. And I don't anticipate Father Time taking over at this point for this fight either, even if it was against Spence. I think we're still going to have 85% of the Manny Pacquiao that we know. Go ahead.
So I guess that 85% of Pacquiao will be enough to beat 100% of Ugas. Mike, you were about to jump in?
I was just going to ask a question. Does Ugas jab a lot, or is he the one who throw more hooks to sort of like close the distance?
Now he uses like his jab as a rangefinder, with him having the height that he does. So yeah, he does like uses his jab a little bit, but he can like catch a few folks with his power shots though at times. But he did kind of slow down a bit against Abel Ramos in his last fight though.
Well, I'm not going to necessarily speak on what I think will happen. I don't care actually, but what I will say, to me, the best opportunity for Ugas to upset Manny Pacquiao, I don't think he gonna win a decision unless he like knock him down maybe like 3 or 4 times. But to fight him wild and like just sort of mauling like he did to the I'm forgetting the name. Shout out to Troy, but I'm forgetting the name of the fighter. The lanky skinny dude who got knocked out, and his brother doing well now. He pretty much mauled that guy.
Who are we talking about? Algeria? That's what you talking about? What are we talking about?
No. Ugas knocked out the skinny dude who throw a bunch of hooks and stuff. He has a brother who's fighting now. I'm derailing my point by trying to think of his name, but all I'm saying is his best opportunity is to maul Manny Pacquiao, hit Manny Pacquiao wherever he can, stay on Manny Pacquiao's chest, don't let Manny Pacquiao use the ring, and just make it sort of a mauling fight. That's his best opportunity to me. Anything other than that, I don't see his speed being enough to sort of sway the judges, enough to be extremely effective. I think he might be effective in certain exchanges, but Manny Pacquiao still will be fast. Manny Pacquiao has deceptive sort of like closing in speed. His hand speed is pretty good. He got to stay in his chest.
Omar Figueroa?
Figueroa, yes. All I'm saying, he need to maul Manny Pacquiao how he did Figueroa. Different fighters, yes, but I'm saying that the same thing that Jeff Horn did, that's how he needs to make him uncomfortable. He needs to fight that type of fight and make everyone question, is Manny Pacquiao still that guy? Like, that's what type of fight that he need to go at Manny Pacquiao with. And I wonder if the letdown of not getting Spence will be in favor of him, because this is the exactly type of trap fight that takes away from a good fighter like Manny Pacquiao, not getting the guy that you thought you was going to get.
And it's a different style too, so that could be also a factor here going into this fight next week. Troy, what do you think about this perspective of Ugas getting a win over Pacquiao?
Make sure you're speaking on that 2-year layoff that what's his name had also.
I'm thinking I'm basing on what I've seen in his last fight. This is Pacquiao's last fight. He's hittable. And he has lost a step because that's what happens. That's what happens. But he still has his power, and he has quickness also. Ugas, I could only say I might have watched him fight Porter. That's the only fight I've ever seen with him. So if he gets caught, that'll give you an answer. And he gets caught and get up and fights on strong. That'll give you an answer as to how the fight's going to go. To be honest with you, I think Manny Pacquiao has one more good fight left in him, and then he should walk away from the sport based on what I saw in his last fight. If he uses that against Ugas, he should walk away from the sport. Because whoever he fights next, I believe, is going to beat him, just based on what I saw in the Thurman fight.
And how close that one was?
He got hit a lot. He got hit a hell of a lot more than he should have. The only thing was he was just better than Thurman.
If they don't do drug testing, I think he'll be okay.
Okay, stop that right. Okay, that right there irritates my soul so much. It's been almost 30 years. No, let me finish. It's been almost 30 plus years. Why hasn't he been caught? Why? If he's so dirty, you telling me almost 3 decades and he's never. Tell me what test he failed. Tell me how many times he's been suspended.
His career will be elongated if they don't do drug testing. That's all I'm saying.
Again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Tell me what test he's failed. Tell me how many times he's been suspended.
When you answer my question on what's the name, I answer this question.
I'm not going backwards with you. You just accused the man of being on drugs, and the thing is, you have no facts to back up anything you say. Not 1 ounce of facts, because there was a man that was running his mouth, and Pacquiao took him to court. Notice he don't run his mouth no more about Pacquiao being on anything, because obviously he didn't have no damn facts neither. Right? And he had to pay Pacquiao.
I literally said that if they don't, I didn't accuse him of anything. I literally said if they don't drug test, he'll have a.
Okay,
you said that his career will be ended, or it will be ending within 1 fight or so. And I said, well, if they don't do drug testing in fights, his career will be elongated. He'll have a longer career.
And you said that for what reason? And you said that for what reason? Why'd you say if they don't drug test that his career will be ended when you know that they drug test in every fight? So why did you say that?
If they don't do Olympic style drug testing, I'll get more specific.
No. VADA is voluntary. That's what a lot of you dudes don't know. Nobody has to do that. It's voluntary. It wasn't a part of the sport until this punk named Floyd Mayweather decided to make it a part of the sport. It was never a part of the sport. That's why it's voluntary. You should go look up what that means. It's voluntary. It's not nothing that anybody can enforce. It's nothing that can't be enforced. All I'm saying to you is this: if you're gonna accuse a man of doing something, at least have some proof. At least have some proof. The dude has never popped dirty, so I don't know where this all coming from. Where's it coming from? Thank you.
You mentioned that his career is going to be very limited in the future, and it is my belief that I think his career will be elongated if they don't do a certain style of drug testing. That's all I'm saying.
I'm basing mine on the fact of his age and what I saw in the last fight. What are you basing your comment on?
What I'm basing my comment off is that if you're an older fighter or a fighter with less skills and they don't drug test a certain type of way, then your skills are enhanced and elongated. You get more endurance. You get
elongated from what?
Power.
How are your skills elongated? Come on.
By taking that Manny Pacquiao.
I've never heard of a Manny Pacquiao. Where do you purchase that? GM. What drugstore do you buy that? I've never heard of that. Obviously, you must have tried it before because you know so much about it. What does the Manny Pacquiao do for you? Does it give you like a Filipino accent?
I've never tried that Manny Pacquiao. I'm a regular human being.
I don't know because it sound like you tried it because you have a lot to talk about it. Does it make you long for certain foods? I mean, does it make your voice like high pitched like most Filipino men? I mean, what does it do for you? Does it give you thick legs?
Oh, somebody said the Ariza special.
The what?
The Ariza. You know who we talking about. You know who made the comment.
Oh God. Okay.
There you go, the Ariza. Thank you, somebody who jumped in.
Myron must know what the Ariza special too. What do they sell that in DC? Along with mumbo sauce. I mean, what are y'all talking about?
Not the mumbo sauce, man. Oh God.
I like a chicken box with some Mauricio and mumbo sauce, please, on the side, if you don't mind. What the hell are y'all talking about, man? I can prove what I'm talking about because he's an older fighter. What are y'all talking about? Help me out.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm just telling you the case where his career will get elongated, will get extended.
How much longer does his career need to be?
Long enough for him to make a few more $1 million fighting. fighting
He is the
guys that.
biggest name. He's the biggest name in boxing right now, and arguably he's the best at welterweight. He's the money man at welterweight.
But wait, I thought
All
you
the
said
other
Terrence
boys
Crawford was the
can't touch
best.
him. No, I never said that. You just said I said that. I never once stated that on here. I never stated that anywhere.
You said he was
No, I
better
did not.
than you said that Spence and all the other guys didn't fight him.
That's
You said
right.
something along those lines.
No.
And then
I said the other guys didn't fight him. I didn't say he was the best. I never stated that once.
So who's the best now? Who you think the best is?
I'm sticking with Pacquiao because he's been doing what he's been doing at such a high level for decades now. These cats can't even get together and fight each other.
Which includes Crawford.
I just said these cats, which include Crawford is a part of the group. I'll get tired of explaining myself. I'm a boxing fan, my brother. The last time I attached myself to somebody was Simon Brown because I know him personally. And I was a huge Holyfield fan. You couldn't tell me nothing about Holyfield. He was the best I've ever saw. There's nobody alive today that I would really attach myself to like that because I don't see no skill like that. I don't feel no passion for anybody like that today at all.
But you have a black heavyweight champion.
You have quite a few black heavyweight champions. You have 2 black heavyweight champions. What the hell does that mean to me?
A black U.S. heavyweight champion. How about that?
Again, what the hell does that mean to me?
I was giving you something to put your pride in.
My pride is in me and in my faith and all of that. Not some dude who can't take a loss.
Oh.
See? Boxing sauce, here we go again. First was Floyd Mayweather, and now it's Chicken George they bringing up. I don't know why they keep bringing up these people, man. Why they bringing up?
Man, come on. You know who he's referring to with that. So
I don't know who's Chicken George.
Arm leg.
Hold on. I didn't know if Terrell wanted to, have something
in reference
to
jump on here, Terrell, because I want to hear about your cooking, man, because I cook.
Yeah, he chose. Well, he's still on mute. I don't know. He's probably finishing up his latest dish, man. Through his thing. So,
and Myron, you could jump on here now, man. You could jump on and stop staying in the chat.
Yeah,
jump
man.
on, Myron.
We got like a few more minutes that we could chop it up here a little bit because
right.
Yeah, I was just I was looking forward to a Pacquiao Spence, but now that it's Pacquiao Ugas, I'm just like, this is gonna be a series of unknowns here with it. So I'm like, will this be something for Ugas to kind of like say, this is my coming out party, this is my opportunity to show up and show out, to say that I'm amongst one of the top welterweights out there. And that with the win over Manny Pacquiao, that he'll say that, or he could make a claim that he could be among the top welterweights out there, and that they could go ahead and pursue him as far as like a key fight there in the welterweight division. Because even like I was saying this a week ago or so, I said before all of this went down for your Dennis Ugas, like, they were originally talking about him potentially fighting Keith Thurman. When it could have been a Keith Thurman versus your Dennis Ugas, and then you had the whole thing with Spence that could have been a potential unification bout, and then Pacquiao stepped in, and it would have been Spence versus Pacquiao, and then your Dennis Ugas is going to have a defense against Fabian Maidana. And now here we are. It's going to be, we're less than a week away, and it's going to be Pacquiao versus Ugas. So, I don't know. Maybe this could be something where if Father Time is undefeated, you could have a situation. I wouldn't say it would be this bad, but it could be like Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya, where Pacquiao just completely outclassed De La Hoya, where De La Hoya just didn't have any answers. So, maybe Ugas has one of his top of the line performances to where Pacquiao doesn't have an answer. And it eventually becomes, a TKO or a stoppage victory for your Dennis Ugas, and he'll get a lot of attention for getting that win if it ends up being that way.
Well, all I can say is I hope they lowered the pay-per-view price for this Is the pay-per-view still the same? How
Yeah,
much
I
were they
thought it was
charging
still the
before
same.
boxing sauce?
I
How
thought
much
it was.
is it?
What
How
was
much
it
is
like?
it?
What, $74.99 or something
You
like
better
that?
be $55.99. It don't matter 'cause I'm not paying for it. But nah, I think if he does win, it's just because of what I said. Pacquiao has slowed down. He's hittable, and the guy's a very sharp fighter. He's a good fighter, but I think he's missing that it factor. But we shall see when the fight occurs. But this has been a very disappointing year for the sport with all the cancellations and all that. So we got this fight, and of course we have the other black champion, right? Anthony Joshua. He's fighting in a big
Not from the
heavyweight
U.S.
fight, right? So we got to talk
Not from
about
the
that
U.S.
too. That's a guy. He's fighting. What's his name? Usyk.
Alexander Usyk.
Usyk, who's undefeated, by the way. I'm not big on Usyk at all. But anyway, here's my point. We have to, where we are in boxing is kind of like we take it or leave it right now. And that's just a terrible place to be, personally, to me. I mean, but to answer your question about Father Time, we won't know until that first bell. Because if you watch the fight with my boy Coffee, right? Michael Polite Coffee, you could tell after the first round he wasn't there. He was not there for that fight. Physically, his timing was off. Everything was off on him that night. I don't know what happened with him that night, but you have those nights as a fighter where you're just not on. You don't have the it factor like he did in his last fight. He didn't have it in this fight. And we don't know if Pacquiao will have it in this fight until the bell rings. So I was hoping that Pacquiao beats Spence, knocks him out, and then rides off into the sunset. Then we can shut up about Floyd Mayweather being ranked over him because he'll never be ranked over him. He can't because he's more accomplished than him. So yeah.
He's ranked
Well,
over who now?
ranked over Floyd, but that's debatable. That's gonna be
There
debatable
ain't no damn
forever.
debate.
That's gonna be debatable forever. I'm telling you. I'm just saying. But with that being said, BLU did decline to be on this live discussion. So, with that being said, I will close this version. In this episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show was very, very, engaging, much more engaging than the Rigo-Casimero fight. But we'll get back at it. We'll get back at it here next week to talk about the results of that pay-per-view card there, because I don't even know if I haven't even seen what the other fight is going to be that they were gonna have to replace Ugas versus Maidana, because I mean they only had like 3 fights on the card. And so I was like, well, I think, oh yeah, that's right. They moved the Carlos Castro Oscar Escandon fight up to be part of this, because the Castro Escandon fight was originally scheduled for August 28th. That was supposed to be part of that Benavidez Uzcategui card, but you had the thing for Benavidez and the whole COVID. So since that main event has been postponed, they moved Carlos Castro Oscar Escandon to this particular fight card. And yes, they're gonna have Victor Ortiz versus Robert Guerrero, which somebody says is straight basura, but it's gonna happen on this pay-per-view anyway. And yes, it's going to be $74.99 for this pay-per-view. So there's that.
Okay, let me say something, right? I'm not a fan of Don King's of how he did business, but when Tyson went away, he didn't give you no shit shows. He put on some good fights loaded with championship fights.
Yep.
Not garbage. Say what you want to say about him. He always put the sport first.
Only
Because
in America, baby.
Yeah, because he knew that's what kept the people coming, and he could continue to get away with what he was getting away with as long as he gave them a good product. PBC don't give you no good products, baby. They give you drama. They don't give you good product though. I don't know what is going on in boxing, man.
Well, that
But
may
tomorrow,
be a discussion, like a bonus discussion there, as far as like the cards are concerned, because
okay, but I'd like to invite everyone tomorrow. Before I jump off here,
yeah,
come check out Major Key tomorrow at
Me-
9:30. Yeah, Major Key, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have a very special guest tomorrow on the show. All right, and you're
yeah,
talking to him. It's my 50th birthday, so that's say. Come on,
5-0, man. Oh
Happy
man,
5-0, baby, 5-0. And I expect you to cook something, Terrell. And as a cook, you know I'm gonna judge you harsh. So come on with it. I want some smoked turkey wings or something, brother, and some dirty rice and some vegan dirty rice or something. All right, I'm going, y'all. Everybody be blessed.
all right, no
Oh,
doubt there.
yeah, man. And MG, 2 years is 2 years, brother. I don't ever want you to mention Ali and Holmes again. All right, or else I'm
What's
gonna
his
have to
name was
make
off
you
2
eat.
years also though.
I'm gonna have to make you eat some of that, Aricia sauce with that mumbo sauce with the chicken next time you come to DC, bro. I want to hear about Ali and Holmes no more.
Both guys
Don't
was
say
off
nothing about this
2
sauce.
years. What make it vegan rice though? What make it vegan dirty rice?
Well, you put cabbage in there, you put mixed vegetables in there, and you season it up with some Cajun seasoning. Dirty rice, vegan. There you have it.
Okay.
See? Don't be trying to. Well, I'm a cook, brother. You could throw anything at me real fast, and
I
I'll
was
beat you.
really wanting to know. It wasn't trying to stump you. I could ask you a harder
Okay.
question than that.
Hey, but listen. This is the last thing. Boxing sauce.
Yeah.
I'm turning 50 tomorrow, right?
Hey, hold on, man. Come on, man. Don't put this whole Teddy
You know what I'm gonna say.
Raspberry White on this show.
You know
man.
what I'm gonna
Come on,
say.
man.
Hey, boxing sauce.
Oh no.
I want you to get me 2 cakes. One that says 5, one that says 5, one that says oh. And I want some plus size women to jump out of both the cakes. All right, boxing sauce. I'm going on that note.
All right, man.
What kind of podcast is this? Somebody tell me.
Oh man, he just jumped off. Troy just jumped off, man. He was talking about some big old women.
Jumping on the cakes. This is
Yeah.
a new level for the boxing source, to say the least. I mean, because everybody know you the fluffy killer anyway, right? You, Jay, I put you alongside you, Pumpa, and Mr. Killer, fluffy killer. You know it. You definitely know
Oh
it.
my god. Oh. That's
Matter of fact,
horrible.
because I was with Pumpa last night, he mentioned me too. He said, "Yo, you know your boy Jay, the boxing source." He said, all this moves from you. That's what he told me.
Oh man, come on, man. Oh man, yeah. Let me roll off and close off of this show, man. Hey, big ups to everybody that joined in on this particular episode. Yes, it will be available on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. It will be on it. Like I said at the end of every show, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit. Like how Rigo didn't get hit by Casimero, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So on that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.